How do you like it?
I'm not sleeping at night.
You're not
I
sleeping.
just
Okay,
I'm
that's good.
not sleeping. I just go on and on with the training.
Dana, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Hi,
Hi,
Dana,
I thought you were gonna ask the question.
are you getting shy on me? I can mute you and ask for you.
No, let her ask it. Let her.
No, you're fine. How's
Sharif
it going?
It's going good.
So I was just gonna ask if there is a restriction on a building. I found this building. If there is a restriction, like a KFC can't be there. Uh, is it a flag for me to not to proceed, or we can work around it?
Okay, so only KFC can be there, or all type of food servicing can be there?
No, only the chicken fried. That's what it says.
It's not a problem. Although, I mean, it limits us somehow because now you have Chick-fil-A, you have Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's not a problem. I don't usually like any restrictions. We've had a deal where we put a deal under contract. It used to be a coffee shop. Starbucks got interested. Then we found out it was a strip center, and they had a pod in the front, and we got it under contract. And then we found out we can't put any coffee operation. Well, that was the most desirable location for coffee. So we just got out of the deal right away. This one, if it's only one, which is KFC, not a problem. I would continue with it. I know you're part of the JV, and I'm excited about it. How
Yes,
do you
I
like
am
it?
too.
How do you like it?
I'm not sleeping at night.
You're not
I
sleeping.
just
Okay,
I'm
that's good.
not sleeping. I just go on and on with the training. So yeah,
Great.
and one more question, Sharif, and thank you for your feedback. Um, if with the current situation, it's crazy. So the lease, with the option period is 45 days. Is there anything new now that we can extend it for more than 45 days for the tenants to come in?
Yes. So what I was saying earlier is we're getting 60 days with less resistance. As a matter of fact, one of the sellers was insisting, I'm not going to let you put it under contract for more than 45 days. If you want to extend, you'll have to put more money or make the money non-refundable, etc. So what we did, we said, okay, no problem. Can we start it then on June 1st? And we had a compromise of May 15th. So we literally bought an extra month just by calling, which is what we wanted anyway. so just ask them for the extra time. Everybody understands there is very little activities right now all the way till sometime in May, and so ask for 60 days.
Okay,
And
great.
by the way, the other side of it is we're also, when we're sending, the key thing is to get to the place, to do a little video of it, etc. Send it to me, so you know the steps. But the key thing is when we're sending emails, we're actually getting responses from tenants, which is amazing because it seems like a lot of these tenants are working with the real estate department, the retail division, etc., from their homes, transferring their phone lines there. So we're actually getting responses. And people are saying, we want to take a look, but we're busy right now. We had a response, an engineer went, measured the space, but we will not be able to answer you for 6 weeks, but you will get a clear answer. We're deciding internally. So the good side of it is at least they're more receptive.
Hi, Mitch.
Yes, I am available. Thank
Hey,
you.
Mitch.
Hi,
Mitch, you're on with Sharif.
how are you? Hi, Sheriff. Thanks
Great.
for this seminar here.
Sir. Yes,
Um,
sir.
on the phase one, as part of the inspection time period on a commercial building, how do you deal with that, not having done that, and there's potential to get a tenant, but you haven't done that and you got a loan, you got to deal with all of that for the environmental inspection part of the transaction.
Okay, so the way we do it is, believe it or not, with this joint venture program with single tenants, I don't do any due diligence when we put the property under contract, because the due diligence is mostly for the building done by the tenant. So when the tenant comes and says, okay, I'm interested in this, and we do the final tour and all this is done with the student I'm working with, we're ready to close. The environmental could be done in no time. And sometimes the brokers, the sellers have the environmental phase one. And I'm buying all cash anyway. I'm not buying with loans. So I don't need a lot of these things. And why don't we spend our time and effort and money on due diligence? Because the tenant is going to come in and say, I need a new floor, I need a roof, I need this and that. So I let the tenant tell me what they're looking for, and we make it happen like that. By the way, I'm
Okay.
playing with the sand here. Sorry, if I'm
Right.
very,
If you don't cash, I could see that. But if you need to get a loan, it's one of the requirements from the lender to get the phase one inspection done.
yes. Then don't do the actual like line up the inspection that you want for the for phase one for environmental to be done once you tell them I'm ready for you to do it. You
Okay,
see?
I got you. I got you.
So
And I may need to ask for an extension at that point, and hopefully they would give the extension for to the phase one inspection. I guess that would be another way to deal with that issue.
yes, but you don't want to spend the money until you're sure you're going to buy the building, number one. So you can do it
Correct.
when the tenant tells you, okay, we're ready. You have about 10 to 15 days to close, because actually, even if we take 45 to 60 days for due diligence, we have an additional 15 to 30 days to close. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to get a loan, you're going to tell them, I need an extra 30 days for the loan. Now, let's say you need extra time. So we negotiate with the sellers by putting non-refundable, we move the earnest money refundable
Right.
deposit
I got you. I got you. You
to
secure the transaction with the seller. Okay. And one other quick question. Some agents don't like to see a sign on the purchase agreement. So you have your name and assignee, or for to sell that property during the transaction. How do we deal with that? You just walk
okay,
away
so
from it if they're not.
great question. So what brokers don't like is your name and or assignee, or your
Right.
name and or nominee. No, they don't like it so open because they say, what is this? But when you put your name and or Mixif LLC,
Mm-hmm.
and they have access to Mixif website, and the proof of fund comes from Mixif, is very specific what we're doing. You're
Gotcha.
saying, I'm working with a fund. Here's what it is. You can call the bank and ask him. You can call the owner of the fund and ask him. And that's how we make it. We had
Okay.
zero resistance. We every now and then we have a question, but we have not had a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, good question.
Sharif, next question actually comes from Craig Rockwell. And it's, do you think my business should apply for one of the SBA loans? 6 employees and a small storefront. Can I use this money for buying a building?
You should definitely apply for the loan, but you should follow the direction of the government of how to use the money. The money should be used for payroll, to pay interest, to pay rent. There are some very specific things that I covered on the call I've done a few days ago, and I'm going to actually add to that call, and it's going to be posted next week. So I invite you to listen to the call very carefully. And I repeat, yes, apply for all the government aid that they're giving us, stimulus checks, loans, whatever you can get. This is to stimulate the economy. And who doesn't like to be stimulated, after all? And but be very careful. You're applying for government. This is a government application. Do not lie. Do not exaggerate. Consider you're going to get audited. That's why I designated Alma, because we had so many people asking, and Alma knows exactly the steps you have to follow. There is a fee for it. You have to pay her a fee, but listen to the call, because she's going to help you put the whole thing together. She does it all for you, and she will submit it. We're doing this literally as a service for the students, investors, and people in our database.